This is an eel, and this is a snake. At a glance, they almost feel like the same animal. Long, flexible bodies, no limbs, movement that looks like overcooked fettuccine trying to win a 100-meter dash. Just pure muscle rippling forward in smooth, unnatural waves. They both hunt by getting close. They both rely on speed, precision, and a strike that happens before you even realize what you're looking at. And for most people, that's where the fear comes from. But this is where it gets interesting, because a snake is still bound to land. It has to fight gravity. It has to strike, hold, and control everything in a world with resistance. An eel doesn't. In the water, that same body plan becomes something else entirely. They bite things. They shock things. They grow over 10 feet long and hunt in complete darkness using senses that shouldn't be possible. And yet, somehow, snakes get all the fear. So why is it that eels are so much more terrifying than snakes? To find out, let's look at the most obvious example. This guy. This is the Moray eel. And if you couldn't tell just by looking at its face, it can bite hard. Moray eels have adapted to become literal living bear traps wedged inside coral reefs. These guys can grow up to 10 feet long, but you almost never see their full body because they stuff themselves into crevices with only their head sticking out, waiting. And what happens if something swims too close? Yeah, that fish is done. The Moray strikes almost instantly and clamps down before the prey even registers the movement. But here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. Moray eels don't just have one set of jaws, they have two. The first set is the obvious one, the outer jaws that clamp down and grab. But the second set lives inside their throat. A whole separate set of jaws called pharyngeal jaws that launch forward into the mouth, grab whatever the outer jaws caught, and drag it backward down the throat before the prey has any chance of escaping. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds like something from a science fiction movie. But no, this is completely real. It's the same concept that made the Alien franchise so iconic, except it evolved naturally in a fish that lives in coral reefs you might actually swim near on vacation. So not only does this thing look like a nightmare, it has a backup nightmare system installed inside its face just in case the first one wasn't enough. And here's why Moray eels had to develop all of this in the first place. Unlike most fish, Moray eels can't create suction to pull prey into their mouths the way other fish do. Most fish swallow by opening their mouths rapidly and letting water pressure do the work, essentially vacuuming prey in. But the Moray's long, muscular body and rigid structure makes that impossible. So evolution gave them the second jaw instead, a mechanical solution to a physical problem, which honestly is more disturbing than if they had just been born terrifying. They earned it. Now, let's talk about why snakes never had to develop any of this. On land, a snake is already one of the most effective predators in its environment. Venomous fangs, ambush hunting, silent movements, and a jaw that unhinges to swallow prey whole. That toolkit works. The competition on land is real but manageable. You're dealing with rodents, birds, the occasional mongoose. You don't need a second set of jaws when the first one already does the job. But the ocean is not manageable. The ocean is crowded, competitive, and full of things with armors, claws, and their own nightmare adaptations. To survive down there, being a slimy tube with teeth is just the starting point. That's not enough. And some eels took that very literally, because if the Moray sounds bad, allow me to introduce the electric eel. This slimy garden hose will put you in immediate muscle paralysis. But electric eels are technically not true eels. They move exactly like eels, and they can produce up to 860 volts of electricity from their own body. Around 80% of the electric eel's entire body is dedicated to electricity generating organs. Thousands of specialized cells called electrocytes that stack up like biological batteries and discharge simultaneously. The result is a jolt powerful enough to stun a horse, interfere with human heart rhythms, and kill smaller animals outright. And they don't just use this to hunt. They use it to navigate, to communicate, and to detect prey in murky water where visibility is basically zero. The electricity is always on, always scanning. You can be several feet away and the electric eel already knows you're there. Compare this to a snake. The most venomous snake on the planet, the inland taipan, produces enough venom in a single bite to kill around 100 humans. That is genuinely terrifying. But it has to physically bite you first. It has to close the distance, strike, and inject. The electric eel can incapacitate something without touching it at all, from a distance, in the dark, while simultaneously using the same electricity to figure out where you are. That is a completely different category of threat. But brute power and extra jaws aren't the only ways eels become nightmares. Some took a different evolutionary path entirely. Instead of getting stronger, they got smarter. The Moray eel has recently been documented doing something no other fish has ever been observed doing: cooperative hunting with a completely different species. Grouper fish will actively swim up to a Moray eel resting in its crevice and signal to it, a specific head shake gesture that means there's prey hiding somewhere I cannot reach. And the Moray, being long and flexible and able to squeeze into any gap in the reef, goes in and flushes it out. The grouper catches whatever escapes into open water. They split the meal. No shared language, no prior agreements. Just two completely different animals that figured out they are more effective together than apart. Which is either one of the most remarkable things in nature or one of the most unsettling, depending on how you feel about eels getting smarter. And here's the part that really puts it all into perspective. Snakes are limited by gravity in the same way all land animals are. A snake can only grow so long before its own body weight becomes a problem. Moving across land requires constant muscular effort just to stay functional. But in the water, buoyancy removes that ceiling completely. An eel's body is supported by the water around it, which means it can grow longer, move faster with less energy, squeeze into spaces nothing else can reach, and strike from angles that make no geometric sense. The water didn't just give eels a new environment, it removed every physical limitation that was keeping them from becoming this. And the really unsettling part is that eels are everywhere. There are over 800 species of true eels spread across oceans, rivers, lakes, and reefs all over the planet. Some burrow into the seafloor and ambush from below. Some hunt in packs. Some migrate thousands of miles across the open ocean to breed in locations we still haven't fully pinpointed. The European eel travels from rivers across the entire Atlantic Ocean to spawn somewhere in the Sargasso Sea. We have never actually witnessed this happening. We just know it does because the eels disappear and then juvenile eels show up later. For an animal this widespread and this ancient, there is a genuinely embarrassing amount we still don't know about them. So the next time someone tells you they're scared of snakes, just nod. Snakes are fine. Snakes make sense. Snakes are a known quantity with a known set of rules. Eels have two sets of jaws, can generate enough electricity to stop your heart, cooperate with other species to hunt more efficiently, and have been doing all of this for over 100 million years in an environment where gravity doesn't apply and the rules are completely different. Snakes got fangs. Eels got everything else.